Is that it? Yay! Listen, it's Gayle, your grief girl. I was just talking to you because I thought you were on, and then, I have a techie problem. I hadn't even pressed the button. Hey, you. Hey, it's Gayle. I'm so glad you're here with me. I'm always glad you're here with me. I signed in a little late tonight. I was having a tough time just kind of processing how somebody could walk into a school and murder people. And I know you've been kind of working with that too, right? Like, what? Like, yo, we in a crazy world, in some crazy ass times. Got a crazy president. You know what? Can we just laugh tonight? We've done some crying together and some talking back and forth. Hey, June, baby. Mwah. Hanging in there. And I just want to laugh tonight, if that's all right with you. So I'm going to tell you some of my grief stories, because folks do crazy things, including me and including you, when we're grieving. And hell, we might as well get a good laugh tonight. So I had just finished telling you this story, but I didn't have the phone turned on. So now I had a chance to rehearse it. So maybe I can tell it a little bit better. Okay, so check this out. One of my closest girlfriends, Maria, and Maria, I hope you don't mind me telling this story. So her poppy died. This has been some years ago. And we all gathered at the funeral, beautiful stone church, and it was a rather solemn service. And lots of people there, family to this side and family to that side, and everybody in their beautiful, regal black dresses and suits. So because I love Maria so much, I went up behind her during the service, right? Listen to this, darling. So I went up to my friend Maria during the service, and I came up behind her, like one of those wonderful, like round the belly, round the back hugs, right? I came up behind my girl. She's got this beautiful long hair, and it's all shimmery on her shoulders, and she's crying for her papa. I lean over, I'm in the embrace from the back. And all of a sudden, two pools of snot just bungee jumped from my nose. And if that wasn't bad enough, the pools of snot landed on Maria's lap. So there I was, right, trying to be comforting, trying to be warm, trying to be soft. And there is snot making a nosedive and landing on her skirt. Listen, we're not perfect in this grief thing. Stop playing. Stop trying to act like you got it all together, because you ain't got nothing together. You ain't got a thing together. You heard me right. We ain't got nothing together, right? Send me some of your grief LOL stories so we can laugh together at this foolish world. So wait a minute. Do I need to wait a minute. Hang on, I'm hitting some buttons here. Hey, Rufus, trying to make sure I got you on. So, as I was saying when I was talking to you, but you weren't on yet because I hadn't pushed the button. So, when my mama died, I had two mamas. Now I don't have any, but I had two. So the first one died, and she had just turned 50. And it was horrible. Right? It's horrible. So, we had all these people over at the house after the service, right? All gathered for the repast. People in the living room, people in the dining room, people in the basement drinking liquor. Everything was going on, right? So I'm just in that surreal place that you go into, at the repast, right? You're not even there. You in some watery, floaty place, right? And so there's this woman I have never seen before in my life, and she is having a tear party. She is standing next to me in the living room, and she has her shades on because she is crying so hard that she don't want anybody to see her eyes, right? So she just going in. She going in. You would have thought that her mama died with the amount of tears she was crying. So when she calmed down a little bit, y'all, she looked over at me and she said, "Now who died?" I wanted to punch her in her lip. I just walked off. I didn't even bother to say, "My mama died, and what are you doing here if you don't even know that?" Anyway, we're so wacky, aren't we? We're so wonderful and wacky. Wonderful and wacky. Tell me some of your grief stories so I can share them. Type them up. Tell me some of the crazy things that you have done or the crazy stuff that's been done to you as you walk this long, long path. Speaking of repass, okay, now can I just keep it real for y'all? So, I keep seeing it. What this little button mean, y'all? Wait a minute. Hang on. The button means something. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so listen, don't you hate when you in the middle of your pain, of your angst, the biggest angst you've had in your whole life, and somebody has the audacity, the nerve to come into the repast with some bad food? There you are, right? Weeping, sobbing. There's the gnashing of teeth. And somebody come in there with some bad macaroni and cheese. So you haven't eaten in a whole week, and all you want is some rest. And somebody comes in there, probably your next door neighbor, with a pan of something you can't even name. So you just thinking, well, I'll be doggone. You could at least have brought some good pork and beans, some juicy pork and beans. Let me tell you what, listen, don't make somebody's morning worse because your chicken ain't good. Stop by KFC and pick something up. Who you playing with? I'm grieving and I'm hungry and the food is bad. You better stop playing. Can I get some of your stories? Because y'all got some too. You know what? It's so awkward to reach out. And it's so awful to have lost somebody that you lived for. We're bound to make mistakes. Wait, hold up. So the very first funeral I ever remember going to was an aunt or a cousin of mine. And I'm from Atlanta, so, if you go 5 minutes out of Atlanta, you end up in Georgia. And, when you in Georgia, you in the country. So we were in the country. We were in a little old town called Villa Rica, and my cousin had died. I'd never met her, but my goodness, she was beloved. I think her name was Claudia. Anyway, so Claudia is in the casket, and I must have been around 7 years old, and everybody's crying and sobbing and having a hard time. We're in the country. Keep that in mind. So they roll Claudia's body down the church aisle, and I do remember that Claudia wasn't very old. Seemed like she was a pretty young woman, right? Anyway, so folks would go up to the casket and they would peek in and they would just like almost explode. They're like, bah! Claudia. It was almost like, for me, it was like I was frightened. That was scary to me, to see people behaving that way. Like, I thought maybe she had come back to life. I thought maybe they had her in the casket and then she was deceased and then she jumped out of the casket just because of the way people were acting. So anyway, we're in the country. So they have these church nurses, and the nurses, they like walking around and they following people. They got the liniment and the smelling salt because people are freaking out. Don't you hope that at least one person freaks out when you die? Man, if I can just get a half person to scream for me the way that these people were screaming for my cousin Claudia, my living will not have been in vain. See, I'm not seeing any of y'all stories, and it's making me wonder if let me just do something. Hang on a second. I'm pushing the right. Let me see here. Frida, hey, I want to add you, so I'm hitting some buttons. Okay. Hey, Frida, you know what? I'm just telling grief stories, but funny grief stories, because I need a laugh because my life feels real crazy right now, right? Because you all done elected this crazy man, and we got shootings going on all over the place, and God, right? So I'm just telling funny grief stories, right? Have you ever been talking to somebody about what you're going through, right? So you're telling them, I lost my mama, and wait, hang on. Hold up. Stupid phone. Hang up. All right, I'm coming back. I'm back. All right. So I call these people grief thieves, right? So you're telling your story, you're reaching out, you're trying to get some comfort, you're letting folks at work know, why you've been away from work for a week and a half, right? And so you say something very reasonable, like, I just lost my mama, and she had pancreatic cancer, and she was in the hospital forever. And I went every single day. Like, just a very reasonable reach out for comfort, right? And then Barbara, who you were reaching out to, starts to tell her grief story. Child, when I lost my mama, we were in the mall and her whole body exploded. Can you believe it? And she was in the hospital for 57 years. And so her grief just it just eclipsed your little grief. So now you sitting there trying to figure out how to reach out to her when you thought you were the one who was getting some comfort. I call those people grief thieves. And I'm trying to help me to figure out there how to work with a grief thief. GRIEF, that person who is always comparing their grief to your child. You ain't seen nothing yet. You lost your brother. My brother fell off the back of my truck last night, and his head was rolling under the truck. And you sitting there with your little story about your brother who died in your arms last week. But you can't even talk about that anymore because it's been eclipsed. It's been eclipsed because her brother's head fell off. Damn it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, y'all. I just think that right about now, with all this shit that's going on in this world, we need some laughter. What you saying to me, Deb? I will never forget the day after my mother-in-law died with all her children and their, okay, you got to send the rest of it to me. It stopped at with all her children and their probably spouses. I'm going to read it as soon as I get, let me see. Do I scroll to it? No, I don't scroll to it. Y'all got to help me with the with the technology. I see some of it, Deb. Retype it. Send me the abridged version. Send me the Cliff's Notes. Funny grieving. Ha ha. Tee hee. Mm. Isn't it like that? Tee hee. Mm. Ha ha. Mm. Mm. So I'm trying to figure out how to broach this subject. I know I have to be careful, right? And it's inappropriate, but I'm gonna go there. What is up with all of these typos in the funeral program? And that is the ugliest thing I have said all day. So I'm just going to say it again really fast, and then I'm going to move on because I just feel really bad saying that. Okay, what the hell is going on with all of these typos in the funeral program? That's all I'm saying. I know the last thing you want to think about when grandmama dies is making sure that her funeral program is right. But let me tell you something, y'all. Grandma's funeral program is something that's going to last forever, for a very long time. It's going to be sitting on somebody's, pasted up in the mirror, or sitting on the dresser. Get that shit right. Don't have folks sitting up there reading. Darcy Mae Stiff was a legal worker in the cafeteria at the Prest office. Come on, y'all. You know what? Listen, if you can't get rid of the typos, get Carlton, the next door neighbor, to do the program. That's all I'm saying. People sitting there in the funeral service and they can't even get through the obituary because it's so many mistakes in there. Grandma's pictures looking funny. You got the picture in there when she was 22 and beautiful, and she died at 98. She don't look like that no more. It was so ugly. I'm sorry. Blake! And while I'm talking about grandma, have you ever been to somebody's service and you waited in line to go view the body, and by the time you got up there to the body, listen to me, you wish that you had not looked into the casket at the body, because the body don't look like your coworker at all. The body looks like your coworker's pit bull. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that some of these morticians, they need to go to the Mac counter and get some lessons. That's all I'm saying. They need to figure out how to make the skin look good. I know you got to work with what you got. How to work with the nose and the eyes, and because ain't nothing scarier than arriving at the casket, peeking in, and what you see is a zombie. Nothing worse. I hope y'all getting some good laughs. I'm trying not to laugh because I know that I'm being, what's that word when you, irreverent. I know I'm being irreverent, but tag on it. Listen. So I was watching, I'm a Netflix girl. So I was watching a show that I love, and they only did like 6 episodes. But anyway, it's called Atypical, right? I'm trying to explain to you why I need to laugh so badly. So I'm watching Atypical last night. I'm in the room by myself. Thank goodness, right? And here comes the scene where the main character, he's a young man and he's autistic, right? He has autism, young man with autism. And he falls in love with his therapist. So he just bursts into the room, struts right up to his therapist, this lustrous, gorgeous Asian woman with buttery eyes. And he says, I love you. And I brought you some chocolate covered strawberries. And I know you love me too. And she says, no, I don't love you. You're my patient. I'm 27 and you're 17. No, I don't love you. So the sound falls out, right? Her nose fall away. And all you can hear is his thought bubble. And his thought bubble, some of you may already have seen it. I'm talking about a show called Atypical, right? So his thought bubble is thinking of penguins, which is like his go-to whenever he's hurt or upset or excited. He starts thinking about penguins, right? So he leaves her office and he gets on the city bus and he's becoming frantic, right? And Antarctic penguins are just going, the words are just going through his head, right? And so he sits on the bus seat and then he starts slamming his head against the window of the bus, right? And then listen, and then he slides down off the seat and onto the floor. And he just crumbles. And he puts his hands over his ears and over his eyes, and he just crumbles on the floor, and he's screaming, right? And so, of course, everybody gets off the bus. So in the next scene, his mama comes, and she soothes him with her voice and with her love. And her love just spreads all over him, right? Like an anointing, right? And it dawns on me, just like it's probably dawned on those of you who don't have your mamas anymore. When I have my nervous breakdown on the bus next year, my mama won't be there to comfort me. They won't be able to call Lucille Danley and say, Gayle has lost her mind and she needs you. And that messed me up. Because that's grief. So spontaneous, so unpredictable. 1 minute you're hee, next minute you're... Let's laugh, y'all. Let me see who's spending me. Barry said, speaking of typos, did you see the Ash Wednesday pamphlet that read, remember that you are butt dust, B-U-T-T, butt dust. Okay, I don't know how to scroll down, y'all, so I can see all of your grief stories. So you're gonna have to like send them to me like in really short lines. Cause I don't know how to, let me see. Every time I scroll down, something weird happens. Yeah, I don't know how to do it, Barry. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But anything that combines the words Ash Wednesday with the words butt dust, this just gotta be fucking funny. So, how come the person that's crying the hardest at the funeral is the person who goes home first? Did you notice that? Like the person that was like, ah, oh my God, ah! And then they gone. You know, they do have professional grievers. You know that, right? They do have people that go to funerals. You hire them, right? I guess to give more audience to the preacher or something. So you hire them and they come in and they mourn openly at the funeral, right? But I'm not talking about them people. I'm talking about, wait, hang on. Okay, I'm not talking about professional mourners. I'm talking about those people who come to the funeral, scream like crazy, and then pew, you don't never see them no more. I think what we ought to start doing is we ought to start chasing them people. Where you going? Just a minute ago, you were Snot City. Where you go? Get on back in here. Make them sit down right there next to the casket. Let me see what y'all. Hey, Tapasha. Charlene. Love you, miss you. Thank you for all the times you brought me to your school. Hope you're well. Funny grief stories. That don't even belong in the same sentence. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. What you doing laughing at grief? But you know what, y'all? If you can't laugh in the middle of your pain, then your pain is going to take over. And sometimes your pain needs to take over so you can sit your butt down somewhere and chill. But sometimes you got to go to work, right? Sometimes you got to crank up that car and get your behind on I-495 and go to work. So if you can find some way to ease some laughter in there, I say go for it. Call up your old crazy, silly girlfriend and tell her, say, make me laugh. Make me laugh right now. And if you don't have a crazy, silly girlfriend in your life, guess what you need to find? You need you a girlfriend that when there are tears coating your eyes like contact lenses, you can just call her up, you can just text her and just go in. Just bust out laughing. And I'm saying that because this grief, and I know I've said this to you before, I'm going to keep on saying it because I think it's the truest thing that I know about grief. This grief is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And it stretches out in front of you in letters that spell forever. So you might as well sit back, get you a drink of water, and just buckle up for the ride. Buckle up for the ride. What we got here? Hey, baby. Maria, listen, don't go. Maria's on, y'all. Maria, the first grief LOL story I told, you know what it was, right? It was when that snot came bungee jumping out of my nose when we were at Poppy's funeral, and it landed on your pretty black skirt. I will be telling that story for the rest of my life. I wonder, did you take that dress to the cleaners? Because the snot was in there, baby. But you know what? That was that love that I have for you. That's what that snot was about. Maybe we should all be snotting more. Right? Maybe tomorrow when your coworker, Sarah, tells you about losing her sister and her uncle, maybe instead of you comparing, oh, you know, I lost my sister too, man. That thing sure hurt. Oh, it hurt so much. And she just trying to reach out and get some love from you. And you talking about your sister. Let Sarah talk about her sister. Anyway, so maybe the next time, instead of grief thieving, maybe you can just sit back and ask her a few questions about how she's doing. Maybe you can ask her, what's your favorite color? And then the next day, bring her a card to work featuring her favorite color. Stop grief thieving. It ain't about you. I said that before. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And maybe, just maybe, you can leave a few teardrops on her blouse. Souvenir. Reminder. Evidence that you were there and you cried too. Make somebody laugh, y'all. This is Gayle, your grief girl. Make somebody laugh. Call somebody up and say, can you make me laugh? I'm in it for the long haul. Make me laugh. And then laugh. Watch a movie that makes you laugh and cry. So you're snotting and then you're laughing. Then you're snotting and then you're laughing. But you're still alive. This grief thing is not going to kill us. Is it, June? Is it, Maria? Is it all those Florida families? And I think that's how I want to sign off with you. Florida, you've got my heart. Florida, you've got the nation's heart. Those of you who stand with Florida, come on, do it with me. How you make that little heart thing? Do it with me. We stand with Florida. We are Grievers United. We are love and lovely. We laugh and we cry and we snot on your dress, and so what? We still here. Florida, we still here. This is Gayle, your grief girl. I'll see you in 2 Thursdays, every other Thursday, right here.